Hi everyone, it's Mike Hamilton. It's the 27th September and time for our weekly review. Let's start by looking at the dollar index. From these lows in December 2009 to the highs in June this year, we had a full retrace into the fibs play zone, to the bottom of the fibs play zone. Looked as if it might break the upside above, out of the play zone up here at 61.8. Instead we created a lovely distribution pattern. We broke a trend line here that we talked about this time last Sunday, and here we are right down here at 79.5. So a very nice sell-off. If you look at the weekly, I am looking for a pullback to 80.4 the first half of the week. So I've got extreme RSI on the daily at these lows, so I think it's highly likely we're going to get that pullback. That will mean a retrace in some of the dollar pairs and possibly some of the dollar related markets. A dollar related market is the gold. This is the gold daily. We've hit the 127 extension as was suggested here in recent weeks and videos previously. Some hesitant bars up here and distance to the 8 EMA. So if we do get that move to the upside, a pullback in the dollar index, then I think we'll get at the very least a move down to the 8 EMA on the gold. If we get a pullback right down to 1270, that's still holding the bullish trend before we move up to, I think we're going to get up to at least 161.8 up here, which is 1338, but I think the dollar index is going to create a pullback. Let's have a look at the ES, the S&P 500 futures on the daily. Called the bottom down here on the 31st of August, and then we broke up through this trend line, did a little retest of the trend line, and here we are right up here. And even this move here, a little bit concerned about Thursday's close, because we closed under the 8 and just slightly under this support, but the markets were impressed with the data that came out on Friday, and here we are closing right at the week's highs. So very strong. Where do we go from here? I think we'll get, let's have a look at the fibs for a start. See that? Let's take that off. Looks as if we've got the capacity to come back to these highs. This is a higher low up here. This is a higher high. So any pullbacks to the, again, this fibs level at 1128 are a good opportunity to get in on this market. That will be a retest of the 8 EMA, a retest of the top of the fib zone, and then see how far up here we can get. If we put the fibs on the more recent move, so we're pretty close to the 127 extension, so it looks, if this momentum of this market can be sustained, then it looks as if we could get at least to 1180. I remember 1180 was a key figure when we were up here, so I think that's what we are looking at down here. But initially, early part of the week, pullbacks, and but I think those pullbacks will be bought, and we will start to get back to the run up there. Oil. If you look at this weekly, this is a very sideways market, hence the reason why I'm increasingly taking just 60-minute moves and not tick chart moves. The tick chart, the smaller time frames have been much more difficult to trade in this sideways market. I've got a little bit of a hammer, but we've still got the 8 EMA just above us in the weekly at 77, and 77 in the daily is the 50 EMA. So need to see how we handle this 50 EMA. If we can close above it, then we've got a 50 EMA set up. I'll buy a pullback on a swing trade, and see if we get back up to 81 if these markets can sustain it. 81 is a 50 EMA in the weekly. I do like this yen index setup on the daily for a trade to the short side, but I'm not going to trade it because of the threat of intervention. You get very violent. Look at this huge seller's bar here. This is just a nice pullback to seller's bar, and this inverted shooting star, in my experience, will generate another move to the downside. But I'm not trading it because I am not happy to trade currencies that are getting a lot of intervention. So let's just focus on the pound and the euro. Here's the pound on the daily on the left, weekly on the right. I'm looking for a pullback, nice and simple. Keep all my trading nice and simple. I'm looking for a pullback to 57.27. And the weekly, on the daily, that means 57.35. A lot of support down there at 57.35 from Thursday's bar and this bar on the 17th. So this time last week I was talking about this the shooting star just generating a pullback to the 8. It actually generated a pullback to the 20 before it moved back to the upside, but at least I was pretty much on the target for that one. As for fibs, let's quickly put the fibs here on this current price action. So we've bust up through the play zone here on Friday. We knocked into it on the 17th and on last Thursday, but here we are busting up right through it. So pull back to the play zone at 157.34, 39, sorry, and I would buy this back to the 160 and possibly see if we can get above 160 to get up to the 127 extension. Let's have a look at the euro. The euro is actually, if you look at the resistance up here at 160 in the weekly, if you're trading the pound, just be careful of 160 because there's a lot of resistance on the weekly. Now the euro against the dollar. This is I know we've got the 200 EMA up here in the weekly, but look how we're closing right up against these weekly bars here. So in actual fact the euro is stronger than the pound. Let's have a look at the fibs. So we're very close to 127 extension on the euro, but we are, as we close right up here, we are quite some distance from the daily 80 EMA. So if we get the pullback in the euro index, I would look for this one possibly to retest these highs here, to retest 133.40. Now when you've got very, very strong bars like this, that's a big ask to get right down there, but if that dollar does pull back, we've got the resistance up there in the 200 EMA and potential pullback in the dollar index. This could give us that pullback that we need. If we look at that on the weekly, translate that to the weekly, 132, basically 133, so not far off. The 50 EMA would give us 132.70 for a pullback. So I'm basically going to be I'm not going to be shorting this. I'm just going to be looking for pullbacks and then buying on pullbacks. I'm not going to enter any long positions up here because it's very extended, and yeah, I don't want to pay a high price for this instrument up here, but I will be very, very interested if we get down to these levels, particularly 133 and 133.40, to see if we can get a retest of this area before we get back up and through the 127 extension. That's it for now. The monthly review is on Thursday night. The details will follow on that on the email. Hope you can join us for that. It's completely free. Happy trading. Any questions, send me an email, and good luck.